everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is b.eeana and I'm a third-year medical student at a DO school. As you can tell from the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I've been preparing for the Comlex and the COMATs, which are the shelf exams that I take at the end of every block, and how I prepared for the ComSAs when I had to take them last year prior to taking the Comlex level 1. And mainly what I've been using is Truelearn. For those of you who don't know, Truelearn is an online platform that offers thousands of practice questions in preparation for licensing exams like the Comlex and for the USMLE. They also have practice questions for those of you who are in PA school or occupational therapy school and all types of resources like that. Later on, I'll include a link that shows you all of the products that they offer, so then you guys will be able to have a good idea of what types of things you could be able to purchase from them and whether Truelearn would be a good QBank based on the profession that you're currently working towards. So for those of you who don't know, I have been a partner with Truelearn since the middle of last year during my second year of med school. When they had initially reached out to me, I was completely taken aback because I was wondering, how did they find my little channel? How did they find little old me? But of course, when they reached out asking if I wanted to be a partner with them, I said, of course, because prior to them reaching out, I had already been using the Truelearn question banks in preparation for the Comlex and the ComSAs. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. Let's do it. Let's get the ball rolling and let's work together. So I personally have found that the Truelearn QBanks are the most helpful so far for questions that are focused on the Comlex, the ComSAs, and the COMATs. Prior to purchasing Truelearn, I had already purchased UWorld and Amboss, and those are the QBanks that I use primarily for USMLE preparation. Now, that's not to say at all that the Truelearn questions for the USMLE aren't any good, but because I already have about 8,000 questions in total from UWorld and Amboss, I just know that I would not be able to handle doing another 4,000 or so questions from Truelearn. So that's why I focus on using Truelearn solely for the Comlex, because I find that other QBanks don't do a very great job of writing questions that are representative of the types of questions that show up on the Comlex. However, Truelearn, their style of writing questions is very, very similar to what you'll see on the Comlex. The length and variation in length of their questions is similar to what you'll find on Comlex. The wording of the questions is very similar. And the types of questions and the way they're trying to get you to think are very similar to how the Comlex is testing you. So for that reason, I find that the Truelearn is particularly very helpful for those of us who are in a DO program and need to prepare for the Comlex licensing exams. Another reason that I really like using Truelearn is because I find that their online platform is just very simple to use. You log in, you choose what kind of exam you want to prepare for, whether that's the shelf exam for psychiatry or OBGYN or emergency medicine, or if it's the actual Comlex level 1 or level 2 that you want to prepare for, or the USMLE. You pick it and then it'll give you the questions in that QBank that will help you prepare for that specific exam. And then when it comes time to make the exam, there's a button at the top that says Start Test. You choose how many questions you want to put in that question set, and then you just check off which types of questions you want to be included in that practice test that you've made, and then you just start taking the exam. At the end of the exam, it'll tell you your score, how well you did in comparison to the national average, how many questions you got right, how many questions you got wrong, how much time you spent on each question on average, and then the amount of time you spent in total on that practice test that you had, which I find is really helpful because it helps you gauge whether you're timing yourself well and whether you're above, below, or on par with the national average. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna insert a clip of how I've been using Truelearn, and I'm gonna go through some of the questions that I take and how I use the explanations for right and wrong answers in my learning. So I hope you guys enjoy this clip, and then I will see you guys afterwards. When you go on the Truelearn website to purchase one of their products, you can go here to explore our products, click, and then all of these options will show up. So for me personally, I have the medical licensure exams for the Comlex, but if you're not in medical school and you want to use Truelearn as a QBank for other exams, they have questions that are for PA students. They also have specialty licensure exams, so for those who want to go into anesthesiology, EM, family med, general surgery. And then they also have other specialty exams for dental hygiene school, MA, nursing, NP school, OT, and things like that. Again, I personally cannot speak on these ones since I am only using the Comlex questions. There are so many options that Truelearn offers, so I feel like if you are looking for a QBank that could work with your specific field, Truelearn is definitely one that you should consider using. And then right at the bottom of this screen, you'll see that it says b.eeana gave you $25 off today if you buy a 90-day or longer Smart Bank and bundle. And basically how you'll get access to this is by pressing on the link in my bio. It is an affiliate link with Truelearn, but basically when you use that link, you'll get a $25 off coupon to use on any of the Q banks that you decide to buy. All right, let's do this thing. So I know I've already showed you guys this part a few times in prior videos, but we're just gonna log into my Truelearn account. And the first thing you're going to see is my results for some of my internal medicine questions that I've been doing. Since I'm on my inpatient internal medicine block right now, I've been doing these practice questions in preparation for the COMAT. But on Truelearn, one of my favorite things about it is that you can choose which questions you want to do based on which exam you're prepping for. So I've already taken the final exam for psychiatry. Here are all the questions I did. And I also already took the final exam for family medicine. So here are all the questions I did for that. You can see my score, what percentile I'm in, and then how many of the questions I did. Right here, they'll show you which types of questions you got wrong, and then you'll be able to click on those and learn about that information so that hopefully you don't get it wrong in the future. And then this is just a summary of your scores and how well you did in comparison to the national average. So for family medicine, I am in the 81st percentile. Holla! And then for psych, I also think I was in the 80-something percentile. As for internal medicine, my scores are not super high. I find internal medicine to be my favorite thing, but it's also pretty tough because it covers such a wide variety of information. But I've taken about 38% of the questions so far, and I've gotten 64% of them right in the 69th percentile, which is not awful, but definitely could be better. Again, I just did some questions, and right here you can see that I got a question wrong about hemolytic uremic syndrome. I also got a question wrong about acromegaly. So this is just helping me to identify where I have some gaps in my knowledge. And this test right here, this is a new test that I just created, but I haven't started yet because I'm going to start that with you guys. So we're going to create a new test. You can put in any amount of questions you want, but I'm just going to do 10 questions. And then we want to do all of these questions so that they can all be options in the question pool. And then here you can pick, do you want it to be timed, untimed, or tutored? I always do the timed mode because I feel like that's the most helpful in preparation for exams. Here you can choose, do you want your questions to appear in the Truelearn format, or do you want them to appear the way the questions will appear on the Comlex? So I always choose Comlex visualization because I think it's just helpful to make the practice questions as similar to the real exam as they're gonna be. So there we go with that. We're gonna start the test and then we can do some questions together. All right, so I stopped filming so that I could do the questions, and for the first time ever, I scored 100%. I've literally never scored 100 on any of these practice exams ever, so I'm actually kind of surprised. So I scored 100%, national average was 60.3, so then this tells me I did about 39% better. This is how much time it took me in total to do all 10 questions, a little less than 7 minutes, 41 seconds per question, and again, this is just helpful because it helps you to realize if you're taking too much time on each question to better prepare you for actual exam day. So this question, I would mark it as a pretty easy question. This guy presented with typical flu symptoms for 3 days, so you're not going to give oseltamivir because you're out of the window for that, so now you're just going to do symptomatic treatment. And then here are the explanations for why the right answer is right and why the wrong answers are wrong. Here is another question. This guy has hyperprolactinemia, and then you know that he has a pituitary adenoma. So first line treatment is going to be carbergoline, which is a dopamine agonist, I believe. Yeah, right here, dopamine agonist. I believe second line treatment would be transphenoidal resection, but since I'm not sure, I can scroll down and see what this says. Transphenoidal resection is reserved for prolactinomas that do not respond to treatment with dopamine agonist. So there you go, I had the right idea. So here is a CT. This is really helpful because I just worked in the ICU with a pulmonology specialist. So this is bronchiectasis. I saw this in person. So when I saw it on the exam, that was really helpful. But let's say I wasn't sure what it was and maybe I thought it was emphysema or something. I can scroll down to the emphysema option, and this would show hyperinflated lungs, a flattened diagram, and destruction of the alveoli, none of which are seen in this patient. This guy, he has a low potassium, he has treatment-resistant hypertension, so that's making me think this guy has hyperaldosteronism, which is the case here. All right, and then this person, they've got shortness of breath, profuse epistaxis, they have bloody diarrhea, left flank pain, hemoglobin's low, platelets low, creatinine's high, and then all of that seems to make me think that this person has a hemolytic uremic syndrome. Definition is right here, explanation is right here, along with why all of the other answers are wrong. Here they show a picture of what schistocytes look like. So yeah, basically we just do that for every single question. And the explanations are top tier. They're probably the most important aspect to doing practice questions. One is timing yourself and, getting used to doing questions. And then the best thing about these question banks is that they give you explanations for why the right answers are right and why the wrong answers are wrong. And this in and of itself is a way for you to learn and study. So that's probably one of the best things about Q banks. And I don't just mean the Truelearn Q bank, I mean any Q bank, but in specific, I really like the Truelearn Q bank for Comlex and COMAT preparation. Alrighty, welcome back. So I hope you guys found that clip helpful. If you have any other questions about how I use Truelearn or any other questions for how you think it might be beneficial to you, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. But again, I just want to reiterate the fact that I am very transparent on this channel and I would not promote something that I didn't actually think was helpful. And like I said earlier, I've been using Truelearn even before they asked me to be a partner with them. So I genuinely do find that the Truelearn question bank is very, very helpful, specifically for Comlex questions. Again, I can't speak very much on the USMLE style questions because I've already been using AMBOSS and UWorld for those. And I just can't handle another 4,000 questions. So for the USMLE, can't speak very much on it. However, I would assume that if you bought it, it wouldn't hurt. And then for the Comlex, very, very helpful. I definitely think it's the best Q bank out there for Comlex style questions. And I remember last year when I was taking the ComSays in preparation for the Comlex, a lot of my friends had said that they never used Truelearn and they were solely using UWorld and AMBOSS. And when it came time to take the ComSays in preparation for the Comlex, they found that the styling of the questions was just so different that it was very difficult for them to adjust to. And that was part of the reason why they thought they were scoring low on the ComSays, because they hadn't had practice with ComSay and Comlex style questions. So therefore, once they started using the Truelearn question banks, they were also like, okay, yeah, I should have started this sooner, because the Truelearn question bank is actually representative of the types of questions that I'm going to see on the Comlex, on the ComSay. So again, for that reason, I would highly recommend that if you are in a DO program and you're preparing for the Comlex, please do consider buying Truelearn. And if you want a small discount, there is a link in my bio. If you use it, it is an affiliate link, but it'll give you $25 off your purchase if you buy a Q bank that is 90 days or longer. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you guys found it helpful. And if you did, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!